I'm the refrigerator man. I'm the refrigerator man. I'm the refrigerator man.
Perry. That one registered 3.8. Perry in motion. The pass to Perry. Touchdown.
The refrigerator. And watching. Oh.
The refrigerator came in the game, and the whole place standing up. They want to watch this one.
William the Refrigerator Perry was and still is larger than life. At its peak, he reached levels of fame in the 80s akin to Hulk Hogan and Mr. T.
The refrigerator calls for a tackle.
Doing things no sports fan had ever seen.
He may be 300 and plus pounds, but he's an athlete.
But following his meteoric rise, William Perry, as a player, slowly fell into obscurity and has battled personal issues for decades. This is the rise and fall of the fridge. Now, before we continue, this video is sponsored by SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events every single day available on SeatGeek. Football season is in full swing, and why not get out to a game? I always go to a few games every year, and this season will be no different. And outside of football, there's plenty of other events to go to, which includes concerts, other sports, festivals, and more. Plus, it's so easy using the SeatGeek app. They put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure that you are getting a good deal. Every ticket is rated on a scale from 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good and red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and I got you guys. Use my code KTO for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code KTO. Make sure to click the link in the description to download the app. Born 10th of 12 children in Aiken, South Carolina, William Perry was always big. He weighed more than 13 pounds at birth, and by 6th grade, he was 200 pounds. On top of that, one of his cousins shot him in the face with a BB gun, and it knocked out one of William's front teeth. You can just imagine the teasing that this 200-pound kid with a missing front tooth had to take. However, it didn't take long for this kid to wow everyone around him with his sensational athletic ability. By the time he was in high school, William Perry was doing 360 dunks, performing sophisticated dives into swimming pools, and clocked out as one of the fastest players on his high school football team as a 300-pound nose guard. It didn't take long for Clemson, the big university 2 hours away, to offer a full ride Perry would later accept. Once arriving on campus, it took all of about 2 seconds for Perry to become a legend in the locker room. One day, he was taking an elevator up to his dorm room when fellow defensive lineman Ray Brown walked in as well. There was barely any room in the elevator with the two of them in it, at which point, Brown announced, "Man, you're about as big as a refrigerator." The name instantly stuck. Perry at first had mixed feelings about the nickname, but he did love the feeling of being one of the guys. As a freshman, Perry helped Clemson achieve a national title. The following 3 years, Perry, who stood out like a sore thumb, completely dominated. He earned All-American honors 3 straight years, and was named ACC Player of the Year as a senior. He even got the chance to play with his younger brother Michael, who was also a huge star at Clemson, setting the school's single-season sack record a few years later. As a prospect going to the next level, pro scouts had mixed opinions on Perry. On one hand, the Fridge was a massive physical specimen who dominated in college. On the other, his weight fluctuations had been alarming. Perry weighed as much as 340 pounds as a senior. His weight had been as high as 390 pounds. The fluctuations had been so wild that there developed a concern. At the pre-draft combine, Perry weighed in at 350 pounds, only because the scale stopped at 350. Perry became the talk of the class, primarily because of his weight. If he was able to get it down to near 300, he was a first-round pick. If not, his stock would plummet. Clemson's athletic trainer weighed Perry 3 and 4 times a week for the last 6 weeks building up to the draft. He heard more and more from scouts and trainers who just wanted to hear the latest number. Ultimately, he got down to 317, which was enough to convince Bears head coach Mike Ditka to take him.
Chicago Bears first-round pick, William Perry, defensive tackle of Clemson.
That's the most exotic pick of the day.
While Ditka was excited, the man who would be primarily coaching Perry was not. Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator threw up his hands on draft day and called it a wasted pick. Throughout training camp and the early part of Perry's rookie season, he served mostly as a pawn in a power struggle between Ditka and Ryan. Ditka demanded Ryan use him more on defense, while Ryan flat out refused, keeping Perry mostly on the bench. This forced Ditka to get creative.
Ditka, who normally deals only with the offense, was explaining something to rookie William Perry.
Get that on film so the 49ers can see our trick play, guys. Way to go.
Get out of here.
On the road against the Niners, Perry had 2 mostly underwhelming carries for 4 yards.
William the Refrigerator Perry carried the ball.
However, this started some buzz around Chicago and the NFL. What was Chicago doing with this behemoth of a man in the backfield?
Buddy Ryan said it was a wasted draft pick, but Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator, didn't know that he could work into the backfield like he has.
The following week, Ditka utilized the big rookie once again. This time, it created a frenzy. It all started with the use of Perry as a lead blocker on the goal line.
Hangs in behind the refrigerator. And this crowd loves him. He looks like a Mack truck.
By this point, the crowd had lost it. And as Chicago approached the goal line for the second time, the crowd chanted, "We want Perry." They got what they asked for.
They're getting the football at Perry. Touchdown.
With the crowd beside themselves by this point, the show wasn't over.
Here he comes. Uh-oh. Listen to the crowd. Boom. Peyton following Perry. He cleaned out everything. Say, George Cumby, he just said, this is unfair.
These 3 plays had created an instant legend in the city of Chicago.
We are watching a folk hero being made.
And a national sensation overnight.
Our special guest in the studio today is none other than William Perry, the refrigerator.
My next guest has been bringing some fun and excitement back to the NFL this season. William Refrigerator Perry. Are you getting a lot of offers and people interested in you for endorsements and stuff now?
McDonald's, Coca-Cola, GE, Amana.
It goes on.
But he's such a good guy that even with all the publicity, the veteran Bears aren't envious. They love him.
After becoming the heaviest man in NFL history to score on a set play, it was, wrote Chicago Sun-Times columnist Ray Sons, the best use of fat since the invention of bacon.
I think a lot of underdogs in society relate to William. He's a guy that's worked hard. He got his weight down. He did everything we asked. And right now, he's an ideal citizen, really.
Not only had Chicago found itself a new star, but this team, which had been mostly a disaster for 2 decades, had started 7-0 and looked like the best team in the league. Although defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan still had his doubts. At one point, he said that Perry lacked the technique, knowledge, endurance, and waistline of a professional. However, the week following that sensational Monday night performance, Buddy Ryan featured Perry more on defense, and it turned out he could make plays there as well.
The rush is on and Perry has Kramer.
Funny enough, in that game he got his first sack, the people were upset because the Bears didn't put Perry back out on offense. Ditka actually apologized over it and alluded in an interview that they'd see the Fridge back on offense real soon. This touchdown ended up being the difference in that game, which kept Chicago unbeaten. And pretty soon, the Fridge was everywhere. Over the course of the regular season, Chicago kept winning, finishing with the best record in the NFL, while Perry had scored 3 touchdowns, threw some crucial blocks, and produced 5 sacks on defense. He even had one of the most athletic plays by a 300-plus pound man that you'll ever see. But as crazy as this season had been, the peak was yet to come.
The kid is one heck of an athlete. You know, he can throw the football.
He's also caught a pass for a touchdown, became a folk hero in football this year. Perry's going to throw the ball.
If Perry threw a touchdown here in the Super Bowl, I think Chicago would have burned down.
No, he decides he'll try to run through people, and he doesn't get very far.
Ultimately, he didn't. But he did get his chance at scoring again later.
Perry.
One of the greatest NFL storylines in some time had reached its peak, and the Fridge remained a massively popular figure in the aftermath. Even his Super Bowl ring garnered attention, considering how massive it was. The Bears had overcome 2 brutal decades with a Super Bowl win. It was the perfect ending to a captivating story. Or maybe not. In a later interview, Ditka stated that one of his major regrets was not allowing Walter Payton to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
If you ask Coach Ditka today, his biggest regret was that Walter didn't score.
Right.
For all the greatness and everything that Walter had, that's the one thing that I think, he thinks about.
Payton, otherwise known as Sweetness, had carried this franchise for a decade to that point, and not scoring a single touchdown in that postseason run bothered him enough that he admitted to the Chicago Tribune he was upset. Perry may have been the fun story that the fans loved that season, but Payton was the true hero of that team, and he never got another chance to achieve that dream of scoring in a Super Bowl. So going back to Perry, following his epic rookie season, what was next? Was the landscape of the NFL forever changed? Was he going to continue to pummel defenders and score goal line touchdowns on his way to a Hall of Fame career? The answers were no. The rest of Perry's career can be described as underwhelming. The following training camp after the Super Bowl, he showed up to camp overweight and out of shape, much to the dismay of the coaches. Despite being a fan favorite commanding high dollar amounts for personal appearances, this weight issue really derailed the Fridge from being a special player. He served mostly as an average level starter in Chicago until he was traded in 1993. After that rookie season, he never scored another touchdown. His weight was just a constant issue, Bears PR director Ken Baldessari says, particularly after that first year because he couldn't manage his weight in the offseason. I really believe if he would have worked in the offseason like some players do today, that he could have set some unique records, for not only offensively, but defensively. He really could have been a Hall of Fame player had he taken care of himself in the offseason. After being traded, he lasted a year and a half in Philly, before finding himself playing in the World League of American Football with the London Monarchs. His one season there can be described as unremarkable. Interestingly enough, Michael Dean Perry, the Fridge's brother, was less famous, but still locally well known and highly respected. He was the ACC Player of the Year 3 years after his brother, and he was a much more successful pro. In 10 seasons, he made 6 Pro Bowls. As one of the most popular Browns players at that time, Michael Dean Perry had a McDonald's sandwich named in his honor. The sandwich was named the MDP, only available in Metro Cleveland. The sandwich at the time was larger than any offering made by McDonald's. It consisted of the same ingredients as a double cheeseburger with the addition of 1 extra patty and bacon.
This is so big, I can only eat 92 of them.
Anyways, going back to the Fridge, after 1996, his football career was over, but he kept up with appearances. His most famous examples include the time that he participated in WrestleMania 2.
You might see a whole another career in wrestling. I love wrestling.
The Fridge also fought in a series of boxing matches, the first of which was against Bob Sapp, and the second versus the 7'7" Manute Bol. He lost both times. And finally, in 2003, the Fridge appeared in Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
The Fridge was full after 4.
Hey, you gotta do what you can do. I'm not gonna kill myself.
And other than a handful of TV appearances,
Let me ask you a question. Serious, do you think Brad Pitts and Jennifer Aniston will get back together?
Man, I hope so, man. I just heard about that last week, man.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
The Fridge slowly drifted away from the spotlight. From then on, things didn't get much better for William Perry. In fact, they got a lot worse. In June 2007, Perry was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a chronic inflammatory disorder of the peripheral nerves. In 2009, he was hospitalized due to this condition for about a month, and a year later, he suffered from hearing loss due to the same condition. In February 2011, an ESPN article highlighted Perry's health battle. He admitted to having a drinking problem and was over 400 pounds. 2 months following the article's publishing, Cliff Forrest, a 10-year-old child, discovered Perry's Super Bowl ring for sale. With the help of his mother, he purchased it and returned it to Perry. A few years later, it was reported that Perry's Super Bowl ring had been auctioned off for more than $200,000 by the man Perry had once sold it to several years earlier. By 2016, at the age of 54, Perry was living in a retirement home, later revealing he had no feeling in his feet and was in danger of having his leg amputated. Luckily, he didn't lose his leg, but health problems have played a huge role in Perry's life for 2 decades. Much of it has been due to the lack of willingness on the behalf of Perry to give up drinking and to be consistent with his rehab. Ultimately, it's been a really tough go for William Perry since his playing days. But one thing about the Fridge is he's always been able to maintain a lovability to the people. In 2018, he reported that he was moving around again and he felt better than he had in a long time.
There was a report a few years ago of you passing away.
You know, you move on and laugh about it. Don't take nothing like that serious.
I also found a video from a few months ago where this guy happened to run into William Perry near his house. In the video, he stated that the Fridge said he was doing well and was happy. You can't sugarcoat the struggle that William Perry has been through in recent years. But this man is still a legend, a beloved icon to the city of Chicago and to football fans as a whole. Whether you are from the generation that saw him live, or the younger generation like me that got to hear the stories, watch the old highlights, and play with him in NFL Street, we can all agree that the NFL world is better for having William Perry a part of it. You just can't tell the story of the league without the refrigerator. The Bears have had some rough decades since that Super Bowl winning team. But beyond that Super Bowl, their fans should take pride in one thing. They have the most iconic big man highlights. First with the Fridge, and second with the Ice Maker.
They trail 13-0. The screen is intercepted. Big Keith Trailer. Look at him rumble. 40, 50. Watch out. The earth is shaking. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He won't give it up. Oh,